Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown between deadly bunnies in this good versus evil affair up against the might of Raptor, as the Warriors of Chaos do face off on the Pillar of Bone up against the hordes and legions of the scaly-skinned Lizardmen. So let's look at the builds. Now, I did say Chaos are evil, but I suppose that is a matter of perspective, so I'll let you guys make up your own minds and all that good stuff. So in the front line, we have the cheap and most cheerful of all warriors in the realm, Chaos Marauders, just here, ready for a good fat scrap. We'll be able to chew through skinks rather effectively, although we'll struggle up against the more elite Saurus warriors, but there's a decent number in the front line to help swarm around where possible. In the central pocket, we have some more elite troops. We have some Chosen, in fact. Double Chosen, these guys are going to be the shielded variety, will be able to munch their way through Saurus warriors and stand the test of time up against some of the large creatures as well, with their good leadership and so forth. We have a unit of Chaos Knights with Lances, as well as some Mirror Guard as well. These guys are going to be holding down that central formation with a bucket ton of skirmishers coming up in the rear. 4 units of Marauder Horsemen. I think they're absolutely pivotal in this matchup to help drag down some of the large, scary, single-entity monsters. And leading the force of Chaos, we do have Archaon, the ever-chosen, the mighty man, the myth, the legend, on his flaming steed with his flaming sword, but no fire damage, or flaming attacks, I should say. But he's going to be coming in with the Slayer of Kings, as well as Stand or Die, the Burning Head, Flaming Sword Rune, as well as Fireball. So a really nice little toolkit there. And a nice compact kind of fist in the face build from the Warriors of Chaos, with some nice mobility as well coming in from the Horsemen. Looks like we actually have a couple of units around here on the flank as well. Double Chaos Warhounds with Poison waiting in the wings in case there were any chameleon skinks. Now for the forces of the mighty Raptor down here on the low ground, we have double Cold One Riders. His main front line is pretty flimsy. We have Skink Cohorts, Cohort of Sotek, and that is about it. We do have the Star Chamber Guardians, Regiment of Renowned Temple Guard, and these guys are going to be a real solid anchor for this build. These guys are anti-large, magic damage, and they just hate running away. It's like their least favourite thing to do, so they're going to be here absolutely all day. On the right hand side, on the high ground, we do have a double Horned Ones. Now, Horned Ones are disgustingly expensive for what they do, but at the same time, they look fantastic, fearsome, and in the right situation, they certainly can get some value back. Hidden in the trees, we have a red-crested Skink Chief on a Horned One as well, coming with Potion of Strength, Opal Amulet, as well as that Warrior's Crest. Up in the skies, we do have some Pterodon Riders, as well as a Skink Priest of Beasts with Manticore Summon and Flock of Doom. And down low, we have Gary, a Bastiladon with a solar engine equipped to his back. And he is going to be unleashing shots into those skirmishers, which is a really good idea, trying to, blind them and pull them down as much as possible, as the Pterodon Riders are duking back and forth. Now, this was from the One Build Battle Royale stream we did, although this one didn't actually feature on stream. It was a quarter-final game, and unfortunately didn't make it to the streams, but it is a pretty fantastic one, so I wanted to highlight it here today. Soul Engine already up to 16 kills, just blasting away those horsemen on hot pursuit of the Skink Priest. On the low ground, we do have the double Warhounds burst forth from the trees, and together they will be able to overwhelm some Skink cohorts relatively well, and they do some nice free damage without taking too much in return, taking away some of the javelins the Skinks could otherwise be thrown at the moment into Chosen and other such units. Archaon is just beelining straight for our blessed Gary, and if he pops Slayer of Kings, which he has, he dismantles dinosaurs with deadly efficiency, and he's going to be getting some lovely rear attacks in here as well, although he is struggling at the moment as the Red Crested Skink Chief does a launch into the aid of his friend and goes for a nice little duel up against Archaon, who's taking javelin after javelin. Manticore Summon has been popped up in the skies. We're going to be seeing a disgusting burning head coming down on these Skink cohorts, just deleting them from the game, which is really good news for the Warriors of Chaos. However, Archaon the Ever-Chosen really struggling up against the Red Crested Skink Chief. Being poisoned and javelined to absolute doom, he's going to have to flee before the little skink, who is a relatively decent duelist, especially with all his buffs popped. Horned Ones are streaming through the battle line, trying to drive off the Chaos Knights with Lances, doing a good job of that as well, before looping back around and just absolutely slapping those Mirror Guard, sending them flying and feasting upon their souls. But they are now open for a counter charge from the Chaos Knights, so it looks like they're going to float out onto this left-hand side to try and deal with the Cold One Riders. Up in the skies, Pterodons are just currently vibing. A big Flock of Doom does go down on the Marauder Horsemen as the Skink Priest desperately tries to push them off, but there's a lot of skirmish to deal with. It's going to be pretty hard for the Lizardmen to actually pick those guys apart. Archaon the Ever-Chosen has taken some massive damage. I wouldn't mind seeing the Bastiladon target him when he is this low on health, for the Manticore is in hot pursuit. The Red Crested Skink Chief is woefully kind of left on his own at this point, and if the Marauder Horsemen all just simply switch targets onto him, they'll delete him very quickly. He is a little bit squishy. Horned Ones continue to drive through that central pocket, hunting down Archaon, who is wavering at this point, completely surrounded by more fearsome and impressive foes than even himself. And the Horned Ones are clawing, nipping at the heels of his flaming horse. And they do in fact break him from the field. I would take the Skink Priest and just hunt him down as fast as possible. Cold and Rise have managed to pin in Chaos Knights, and the Bastildon with Solar Engines doing some really nice long-range burst damage to them. Balance Power is now heavily against the Warriors of Chaos due to how weak Archaon currently is. Cold and Rise are in hot pursuit as well to try and ensure he does get forced off the field. But Marauder Horseman, beautiful play here by Deadly Bunnies. Just going to kite backwards wherever Archaon goes, and if you want to hunt him down, that is absolutely fine. You're going to take a bucket ton of javelins to the face and lose so much value, and because of this, Archaon may survive, although a good micro by Raptor, pulling the Pterodon Rise over here to hunt these guys down. Looks like Con Rise are having a good time feasting on Chaos Marauders. Likewise, the Horned Ones should be doing good in this matchup against Chosen, but they don't want to stay like this in contained combat for too long, because the Chosen will start hacking and cleaving them apart relatively easy, and we can see a lot of Horned Ones are dead on the ground at the moment. This is a little bit of a mistake. They need to be kind of pulling back over to this unit, surround them, push them apart, and bounce between combats. As the skirmishers are doing a really good job, they've actually managed to rally Archaon back to the main field. Horned Ones are considering going for the charge, but with so many horsemen here throwing those javelins, they aren't having a great time. Unfortunately for those, they have rampaged. And this is one of the things which makes them not super competitive in my eyes, because, yeah, now you've got a really expensive unit simply chasing down horsemen they have zero chance of catching, and they're just going to get kited and javelin to death. Skink Priest has also gone down in his hot pursuit of Archaon, although Pterodon Rise will be continuing to poke and harass where possible. Very close game so far. Bastildon is full health and definitely has some decent ammunition left on him. Unfortunately, the two units Chosen are going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Star Chamber Guardians mixed in with Cohort of Sotek are given a good fight, but they're already both pretty battered. In the distance, Skink cohorts are going to be chased down by Chaos Marauders. Receiving a charge downhill isn't going to be fun for anyone. Red Crested Skink Chief does pop Opal Amulet and tries to bob, weave, and dart away from that fireball, although does catch a little bit of it to the face. And Archaon now taking some big burst shots in. That Bastildon taking no crap here from Archaon. He remembers the time he attempted to assassinate him, and he wants some vengeance. In comes the Warrior Crest, as well as Potion of Strength, and Opal Amulet is going to turn the Red Crested Skink into an absolute world beater, but Archaon is having none of it. Even with Slayer of Kings and Stand or Die popped, he is running for his life from the little skink, although he's been poisoned and slowed down, so I'm kind of impressed that he's actually managed to keep ahead of the Cold One Riders. Then again, Lizardmen cavalry for the most part is relatively slow as far as cavalry goes. Con Rise have finished off some Marauders here. Now tonight need to get some hammering rear charges into the Chosen to really try and break them up, because the Skinks simply cannot hold the line for too long. And it looks like that's just what we're going to get. Cold and Riders do go into the rear of the Chosen, trying to break them, but I don't know if it is going to be enough. Big shots once again from Gary does come in, clipping the Archaon, the Ever Chosen, doing some nice work as the Red Crested Skink and the Common Rise continue to harass and try to pull him apart. Big Fat Burning Head does go down the line, finishing off the Star Chamber Guardians and doing nice damage to the cohort, down to 6 models, but of course those guys are unbreakable. Archaon has a charge headlong into the Bastildon, which is pretty rough. I mean, he does need to stop it shooting him, but I think he is certainly going to be going down here, and it looks like once again the Ever Chosen has become the Ever Fleer, running away, and the Red Crested Skink Chief should be able to finish him off quite comfortably if he keeps up that pressure on him. Balance power is hugely in favour of the Lizardmen at the moment, although it is slightly skewed by the summoned Feral Manticore, who is desperately darting after the Horsemen. And not the worst idea, just get them to waste their ammunition on it. It's a summoned unit, and stop them from doing any damage to the Solar Engine or the Cavalry will certainly be a big boon for the force of the Lizardmen. And down Archaon goes. This Red Crested Skink Chief has been a real match winner so far. Fantastic performance by him. He looks so cool on this mount as well, charging gloriously into hand-to-hand combat. A very underrated lord in general, in my opinion. Star Chamber Guardians are once again rallying, despite the fact they only have 15 models. That shows their loyalty to their old one's cause. Unfortunately for the Lizardmen, there is double Chosen units still left, 40 on this unit, 39 on the other, and they don't have too much to deal with them. The Bastildon is very low on ammunition at this point. Maybe he can start to break them, but it's certainly going to be a little bit rough. Cohort of Sotek, 1 model left, is actually chasing and driving away the Chosen, which is pretty funny stuff. The horsemen do try to come in to finish off the Star Chamber Guardians. Unfortunately for them, they are terrified away from the Bastildon, which is going to be a big problem for a lot of these forces. Pterodons as well can do some lovely cycle charging down onto the Chosen in an attempt to break them, get that charge and rear attack bonus. Looks like the Marauder horsemen are forced off the field, and instead the Pterodons are going to be used to escort them away, which is a play I really don't mind, although it looks like Cold Riders may be able to accomplish the same task as well. In the distance, the Skink Priest of Beast has rallied as well, coming back to the main fight. And it's going to be really hard, although the Chosen have managed to waver the Star Chamber Guardians, break off Horned Ones, break off Skinks. And it looks like the Red Crested Skink Chief is going to be going down here. We may have a comeback of the ages. He's got the Opal Amulet popped, which is such a nice ability. And he's a popped Focus Instinct. I wish they got rid of Focus Instinct and just made it into Cold-Blooded. I have no idea why he doesn't have Cold-Blooded. Because he probably could have saved himself there, but instead he is going to be fleeing for his life. But he should be able to come back. There's not much on the Chaos roster enabled left to catch him, unless some of these horsemen do disengage and force him off. But it looks like he's got plenty of room left to rally before the end of that. Big Fat Flock of Doom is going to be going down, catching both units of Chosen as well as some horsemen who do indeed ride into it. But the Lizardmen Central Pocket of Strength is completely broken at this point. Their leader is very low, and the Skink Priest shatters by being in the mere presence of such mighty chaotic warriors. Red Crested Skink Chief, despite having nearly 1,000 health, is just going to be getting driven off here and pushed away by the horsemen. Balance power is creeping further and further back in towards the centre of the battlefield, and the Red Crested Skink Chief has routed, and there's simply nothing left for the Lizardmen forces to run over here and protect him. I believe all they have left is just the Bastildon. Everything else is either shattered or fleeing. Maybe some of these Cold Riders will come back, but that's not really enough. Equally though, the Warriors of Chaos don't have any ammunition left whatsoever, apart from one volley, which has just been used up, and the Chosen are wavering. In fact, one unit is terrified. I believe these guys don't have immune to psychology. It's a little bit strange because they are such elite warriors, but equally they can do pretty good damage, so I don't mind it. Gary is looking relatively healthy though, 4,644 health, up to 100 kills and gaining a chevron at this moment. He is rolling around in the mud and having a whale of a time. One problem of course can be leadership. If these horsemen continue to cycle charge him in the rear, make him feel surrounded and isolated away from his friends, perhaps there is hope yet for the chaos. Horsemen charging in, Chosen are wavering once more though, as the might of Gary stands strong. He's trying to push his way through the horsemen, it looks like, rather than attacking. And the little skinks on the side just poking and jabbing with their javelins as they go, screaming victorious. So that big fat tail does clobber a few of those Chosen into the dirt, although most of them do get back up. And over in the distance, the Cold One Riders did manage to return, although they're incredibly beat up by this point, and are actually getting escorted away by some horsemen, which isn't good for them. Actually, they've broken the horsemen, despite the fact they only have 338 health. The Horned Ones rally into Gary, charge in one more time. Boom! And they go with a big old hit, knocking over. This one in particular is driving their way through, sending Chosen flying, buying more and more time for Gary to hold the line and do some decent work. And he's certainly ramrodding these Chosen. If they send most of the battle on their arse, they won't be up there doing damage, although the Bastildon is getting very low on morale at this point by being completely surrounded, down to 3,800 health. Now, I don't think there's any way the Warriors of Chaos can actually kill the Bastildon. They definitely just need to break, and that's not just what he's trying to do. Horsemen coming in from different flanks, and it looks like he is stable at the moment, nothing too crazy. And the Warriors of Chaos, in fact, are breaking far more easily. Both Chosen units are terrified. It looks like the Horsemen are terrified as well. And the mighty Bastildon claims victory. Hola, Skink, indeed. The old ones are very proud. Very well played to Deadly Bunnies, going under a different name here today, as well as a Raptor for bringing two really awesome builds. And again, these builds weren't prepared for each other. These builds were set for a Battle Royale tournament we do, where you bring one build and you have to stick with that build for the duration of the whole tournament. So you often have to get a little bit balanced, or go really, over the top with guns or cavalry or something, and try and really punish certain enemies. But very well played to these two champs. Now we will go through damage value and damage dealt, all that good stuff in just a second. But if you guys did enjoy, make sure to give the video a big old thumbs up. It really helps push it out to more people. And feel free to subscribe as well if you have been enjoying the content, or if you are new here. We drop Total War Warhammer content every single day, as well as normally 1 to 3 streams a week as well. Down below in the description, you can find a link to my Discord, where you can join up, send in replays, get involved in the tournament community and all that good fun stuff, as well as links to my Patreon and other ways you can indeed support the channel. Before Raptor, the victorious, the red-crested skink chief on the horned one is a really good, cheap option, and he certainly packed a decent punch, sent Archaon packing multiple times. 1,566 damage value and nearly 5,000 damage dealt. Very impressive work from the little skink boy himself. Skink Priest the Beast didn't do fantastic work throughout the duration of the entire battle, but those magical summons were pretty key, and obviously the Flock of Dooms at the clutch moments to help whittle down the Chosen really did come in quite handy. Apart from that, Red Crested Skinks did a good job as always. Coil of Sotek very powerful. Likewise, the Star Chamber Guardians, not quite paying for themselves, but a really solid base that the Horned Ones and Cold Ones could use as an anvil to hammer home some more of those elite units from the Warriors of Chaos and punish Marauders alike. Unfortunately, little Skinks didn't fare so good, but the main core of this, of course, was the cavalry. Double Cold One Rise doing a decent job, 1,000 damage value on one, 700 on the other, and the Might of the Horned Ones, 926 damage value, as well as 1,000 on this unit, nearly 8,000 damage dealt and 93 kills, yet still not paying for themselves, and that is the big problem with Horned Ones. You could see they did pretty good work here, drove off the enemy knights, got some lovely cycle charging into Chosen, helped beat down Archaon, and it's simply not enough. They are just a little bit too expensive in my opinion. The Terran Rise did a good job as well. Not the craziest damage value, but just chasing down troops, poisoning, slowing down Archaon, and helping drive him from the field. But the real MVP, of course, was Gary the Bastiladon. 11,189 damage dealt is insane work, as well as 1,762 damage value. The last dinosaur standing, and it proved too much here for the Might of Deadly Bunnies. Now, Archaon did a good job. I quite like him here. I think he's a solid pick. Law of Fire is a good law, basically, in pretty much any matchup. Slayer of Kings also means he can go toe-to-toe with the best of the Lords and Dinosaurs, but he was pushed off by that pesky red-crested skink a few times. 11,000 or 1,100 damage value, 8,000 damage dealt, and 111 kills is pretty important because it drives off the skinks and allows bigger surrounds on the more elite units like the Temple Guard, as well as surrounding the Cold One Riders and all that good stuff. But unfortunately, he got pushed off a few times. Good micro to save him, saved him multiple times to drag him back, but unfortunately, Archaon wasn't the ever-chosen for today. Marauders along the line didn't do crazy work, mainly because they got swarmed by cavalry. Likewise, the Mirror Guard only getting 200 damage value is insane for a unit which costs so much. Both Chosen, though, causing the Lizardmen far more problems. Been a real stable kind of central pocket for the Warriors of Chaos force. 1,500 damage value, nearly 9,000 damage dealt. And the other one, 1,893 damage value, 8,679 damage dealt. Really nice play by both of them. Chaos Knights, unfortunately, did kind of flop, but that was mainly because the Horned Ones did munch them. Beautiful play with the Northern Horsemen. These guys are incredibly good value for money, and as we can see here, 1,226 damage value, nearly 1,000, nearly 1,000, and 929. Yeah, these horsemen put in some incredibly solid work, but unfortunately for them, ran out of ammunition, and in combat, they are nowhere near the match of a scaly skinned dinosaur. Hounds as well, unfortunately, didn't fare too well, once again getting caught out by this sheer cavalry rush coming in from Raptor. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.